He's back. Yes, he is kind of back. What do I mean by kind of back? Well, he is back in one piece, clearly, because here we are out riding together again, which feels amazing. But the story isn't quite that simple. Let me explain. So if you don't know then, if you haven't seen the videos, or simply to recap, what actually happened previously was we had a engine management light come on and we had a charging fault code 46, and so I proceeded to change the stator. And I spent several days working on the bike in total because we did quite a few jobs. We did the oil and filter change, spark plug, air filter, went to the effort of checking and adjusting his valve clearances, and then once all of that work was done, he refused to start. And there was one or two other little jobs that we'd done as well, but he wasn't starting. And I'll be honest, I decided to take a couple of days break from working on the bike because I was rather disappointed that either something I'd done hadn't turned out as expected, or potentially we had a faulty component. So I got back to the bike after a few days, and I didn't simply want to condemn that brand new stator, because although brand new parts can be faulty, you don't really expect them to be. You expect them to work. So I started checking the bike over. I mean, I was checking everything that I had disturbed or possibly disturbed, and everything that I didn't think could have caused the non-start, and I was coming up blank. And of course, one of the jobs that, I mean, in fact a couple of the jobs that I'd done involved the removal of the fuel tank, and underneath the fuel tank there is lots and lots of electrical connections. Now, it may have simply been wishful thinking on my part, but I was thinking maybe I didn't reconnect something. Now, I typically am very methodical when it comes to working on cars and bikes, so I didn't think that would have been the case, but it was always a possibility. Maybe I didn't reconnect one of those electrical connections, or maybe I reconnected it and it didn't click into place or something. I was really hoping to find a simple issue, something that would mean that I didn't have to pull the brand new stator back off the bike. So I went over everything and double checked and triple checked and quadruple checked, and this went on and on and on until eventually I had to face facts. The stator that I fitted could have been faulty. I mean, the stators on these bikes, they have a crank position sensor as well, and if that's faulty, then your bike's never gonna start. So after all of that, I decided to pull the brand new stator off the bike and refit the old one. And I didn't film myself doing this. I would like to show you some pictures and some video of me taking the new stator off and putting the old stator back on. But if you really want to see that, all you really have to do is go to my last video and just play it in reverse, because that really does sum up just how ridiculous this stator job has been. Anyway, after taking the new stator off, putting the old stator back on, the bike started straight away. So there is definitely something wrong with that new stator. Probably the crank position sensor. Yes, tucked away just inside there we have the old stator, once again doing its job. And how do I feel running with the old stator that was probably the cause of our charging problem before? Well, naturally, it kind of feels like I'm dodging a bullet at the moment. And the seller of this new stator, I think they know that they've had a bad batch. I don't mean that I think they've sold me a bad one deliberately. I've bought from this seller before and I've never had a problem. So it's not that. What I mean is, this morning at 10 o'clock I initiated a return request through eBay. And when you initiate a return request through eBay, the response that you get from the seller can, well, the responses can vary dramatically. Some sellers are quite good about it, others not so much so. Some of them will dispute everything you say. I've had people try to get me to pay return postage. And you always get the eBay sellers that say, oh, sorry for that, we'll send you a replacement. No, I don't want a replacement. I want a refund. You know, I've already bought one and it doesn't work. I don't want another one. I don't want another one of the same from the same place. So no, I don't want that. But that's the way that some sellers go. This seller, like I say, I think this seller knows that they've had a bad batch of stators, because I initiated the return request at 10 o'clock this morning, and by 11 o'clock they had issued me a refund. They didn't ask any questions, they didn't send me a return label, they haven't even asked for it back. They've literally just sent me my money back, and that's all I've heard from them. And I'm thinking maybe they really have had a bad batch. So this engine management light that started the whole thing, code 46, well, I expected it to come straight back. I haven't seen it yet. Now, it would be wishful thinking on my part to think that that charging problem, the engine management light, code 46, etc., it would be wishful thinking on my part to think for a minute that that error has simply disappeared. And we've already had a batch of wishful thinking throughout this repair with this bike. So no, I don't think that by some miracle the error has simply disappeared. I do simply think that it's a case of waiting for it to come back. I do think the error still exists, and I do think we will see it again, but for a moment we're simply dodging the bullet.